imagine myself walking in these shoes. The road I was on was littered with many clues. I didn't recognize the signs, I couldn't read them. It was a foreign language, so if you were speaking, I heard the sound, but couldn't interpret the signal, cause my ears were not trained to understand the pitfalls that many talked of. I thought I understood, but I was undermining my understanding. Crash landing, barely standing. Chaos overrules and overthrows careful planning. So much demanding, all of me, every day. All I see is someone or something that needs me. But I got needs too. It's funny cause I don't even know what they are. But when I find them, I'll probably keep searching for more, instead of being thankful for what's provided. So resurrect me. Oh, won't you resurrect me? Cause I think I'm dead, and if not, I'm dying. Bring me back to life. So resurrect me. Oh, won't you resurrect me? Cause I think I'm dead, and if not, I'm dying. Bring me back to life. The passion that burned is gone. The laughing just hasn't happened, it's all gone. If you ever looked at me and thought I was strong, sorry to say you were wrong. What went wrong? I don't know. I try to trace back every step I took. I look for your smile, but it's somber. I look in the mirror and I'm conquered. Do you concur that this is obscure? That a perfectly painted picture is now just a blur? My insides get stirred. I was so innocent, never knew how bad this life could hurt. And that's why I lived like a bird, but now I just live like a burden. I was driven by faith and purpose. Now I hitchhike cause I'm afraid to make a wrong turn. So resurrect me. Oh, won't you resurrect me? Cause I think I'm dead, and if not, I'm dying. Bring me back to life. So resurrect me. Oh, won't you resurrect me? Cause I think I'm dead, and if not, I'm dying. Bring me back to life. Bring me back to life. Resurrect me. Bring me back to life. Resurrect me. Cause I think I'm dead, and if not, I'm dying. Bring me back to life.
At night in my window I see a silhouette, crying heavy tears, look how wet my pillow gets. Throughout my days I don't smile, I just get upset. And since you left, look at all the shit that it affects. I take a picture of your face and I just hold it up. Kiss it, then reminisce on when it was both of us. It's hard for me to open up, I'm always talking to myself, but to nobody else. Some say that church and maybe counseling could probably help, but they don't know about all of my idiotic lies. All the fucking times I left you traumatized. Swore up and down to you saying I'ma try, and never did. I try not to cry, but I feel bad I didn't apologize. It's time I cough it up and tell more. My soul was taken, never sell yours. I did some shit I probably could have been in jail for. Bury me deep inside hell's core and don't let me out until you hear bells roar. She said, you never loved me, you just control me. If you fuck around, I'm calling the police. But all I wanted to say was I'm sorry. Oh, how I wish that I could tell you you're gone, you're dead. You'll never know that I was sorry. Just leave me alone, stay out my head. Wish that I could tell you you're gone, you're dead. You'll never know that I was sorry. Just leave me alone, stay out my head. Wish that I could tell you. It's hard to forget, my heart is a brick. I tell myself, Marcus, I thought that you were smarter than this. The mess I put you through was worse than Pearl Harbor and shit. I'd always harm you and flip, mentally scar you and trip. Sometimes I'd argue and get the nerve to call you a bitch, to bruise your back against the dresser that.
What is up, everyone? Hey, welcome to my live stream. My name is Tyler. I'm a pen tester by day, and I make hacking videos and sometimes blue team stuff at night, but super excited to have you taking the time to hang out with me. It is Friday night, at least it is right now while I'm streaming, so if you're watching this and it's Friday night for you, Yo, welcome to the No Life Club. Good to have you as part of it. Let me check out chat. Let's see who is hanging out this evening. Let me scroll up. We got Zero Cool getting first blood in chat. We got the real Bilbo checking in. We got Ringo. We got Hacker77. We got Kalamka hacking, if I'm saying that right. We got Socknock. We got Mary Ellen. We have Bolt saying, hey, oh, it's Saturn. Cool. Gotcha. Awesome. Scrolling through. What up, Jimmy? Awesome. Hey, and it looks like about 20 some other people who haven't said anything in chat. We got a news check-in, and guys, we'd love to hear from you. Even if you're just here to lurk while you're working your own thing, let me know where you're joining from. We'd love to hear from you over in chat. First of all, guys, there was those of you on Wednesday night, so this is 2 nights ago, you're like, yo, Tyler, you should do the Mobius room on Try Hack Me. All right, and I started doing it, and I found, here, I'll show you guys what I found. I'm not doing it, though. I looked ahead, and then I realized what I had to do to solve this machine, and I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. But anyways, this was the room everyone kept recommending from Try Hack Me, or they wanted to see me, I think, rage quit and suffer. I found the SQL injection pretty quick, and I thought, okay, this is kind of where I got done at. And then, I was like, I'm just curious, what's the next step? And so I went over to my buddy Bob's walkthroughs. This machine is insane, guys. I mean, like, I'll drop this in here, but I'm definitely not going to do this machine. I'm not saying it's a bad machine, but I am saying it's nothing that I would encounter on a pen test. Like the level of complexity in this. You first discover like a SQL injection. You can try to dump the database, which we did all this. There was nothing interesting. In order to get LFI, you have to like hash the file. You have to do this weird thing where you have to bypass all this stuff. You have to like hash the file in order to write into a file. It's just absolutely insane what you have to do to get just initial access to this machine. And so I'm not going to do it. For those of you who went through this, I'll just say awesome job on doing it. But I have never seen anything like this ever in my entire life on a pen test, not even close. So I'm not going to go through it. So we ain't doing that room. Absolutely insane one. But if you don't follow my friend Bob's walkthroughs, his blog, he does an incredible job talking about it. I mean, that's an insane machine. So anyways, what we are going to do this evening is not this room. This one. It's a new one. I think it's Active Directory. I haven't looked at it at all, though, so I don't know what to expect. We're going to see how it goes. I'm going to record, and I'll probably release. So I have some ideas, guys. First, I recognize I can't please everyone. No matter what I do, there's someone like, I don't like the way you do it. But one issue I've had with the YouTube algorithm is when I make like a 2-hour video of me just stumbling through a machine with all kinds of rabbit holes, no one really watches it, or very few people watch it. But when I make just a very quick guided walkthrough, some people will watch it, but it's not realistic because I'm not showing you my troubleshooting and my methodology and my rabbit holes I fall into. So I'm experimenting with something a little bit different. I'm going to record this in real time, me attempting to solve this machine, but I'll probably release it in parts, right? So like part 1, enumeration, part 2, initial access, part 3, privilege escalation, right? So in 3 different parts, but showing it live, maybe slightly edited, but giving a feel for the real process of approaching a hard machine like this, but without it being like a 3-hour video. So that's what I'm going to try. Let's see who else is checking in chat. Scroll up. We're international. We got Transported checking in. Arson. We got Divox Saturday morning from Kenya. That's amazing. Socknock GA, I'm guessing Georgia. We got F. Guaiso in Brazil. We got Devin checking in from Detroit. We got Kalmka, if I'm saying that right, from Somalia. Crazy. What up, Nshinga? Good to have you here, my friend. We got Iron Chef checking in. Says, I'm here to learn how to hack. Hopefully you learned something. I haven't even looked into Microsoft's patch ring, What up, Hacker WD? What up, Fergus from Houston? What up, Veins? Socknock says, just show us the way. I like to, I think what makes... Oh, what up, Steven Upshot? Everyone's checking in. We got Fixit42 checking in again. We got Prodjol from India. Another person from Brazil. Amazing. Lana from USA. So here's the problem I have, guys, with those very quick walkthrough videos. First, everyone does them. All right? You can look up any machine on YouTube. You're going to find a whole bunch of walkthrough videos for that machine. What you're not going to find is someone who has the courage and the bravery to do it live, to demonstrate all the rabbit holes they fall into, the silly mistakes they make on the command line. You don't get to see that. And when people don't show that, you're missing out on a lot of things. I know when I first was getting into the field, I suffered from imposter syndrome because I'd like struggle with the machine for like a week, and then I'd find some freaking YouTuber doing it in 10 minutes. And I'm like, yo, how did you know to do this? How did you know to do this? And I learned that, well, they probably looked at a walkthrough themselves, copied down all the steps, had it on their side monitor, and then just went through it really fast so they look smart. They don't have the bravery to just like, hey, I'm going to dive into this. If I look dumb, it's fine. And so I think that's where my channel stands apart at least a little bit. Bull says, a little bit of an off-topic question. What's your typical DEF CON expenses if you're traveling to it? I've always wanted to go. Is it worth it? Well, it depends what part of the world you're traveling from, obviously. For me, I actually just got all my stuff set up. So my plane ticket, my hotel, and my DEF CON ticket to attend were right around $2,000, and that's not counting food. So $2,000 plus food and any merchandise you want to get. I'd say estimate, $3,000 to $4,000 for DEF CON. And as far as if it's worth it, go at least once. It is a cool experience. The networking and just meeting people is what's top tier. Echo from Korea, Arias from Kenya. Sozo said, new to your channel, 330 for Fix It. We got Canada checking in from John Doe. Doing it live is realistic can teach a lot. It is better. I support you. Appreciate it. I'm planning to take OSCP. Is it still worth it in 2025? Thanks. It is still worth it. Yes. All right, anyways, y'all, let's go ahead and dive into this. I'm going to start recording. Okay, we are diving into things. The Ledger machine over here in Try Hack Me, I have no idea what to expect, and doing this live on stream. So if you're watching this live, that's awesome. If you're watching it after the fact, the recording, that's awesome as well. I plan on splitting this up into multiple videos as I work my way through this machine. But what's going to be different is I'm not looking at a walkthrough. I literally haven't looked at this room at all. So you're going to get my full live raw attempt. We'll get stuck. I'll throw my keyboard. I'm sure we'll get frustrated. We'll look at walkthroughs so we're no longer stuck. But I want to show you the full process over these series of videos of approaching a hard rated machine over here on Try Hack Me. So let's go ahead and figure things out. We know up above that it is an Active Directory room or network from what we can see. Well, not a network because it's just one machine. And we don't have any hints. We just have two flags. What is a user flag and what is the root flag? So I'm going to go and grab this IP. And it's called Ledger. So I'm going to save it to my Etsy host as ledger.thm. Now, if you don't know what Etsy host is, it's how your Linux machine resolves IPs to domain names. So if you think about like the phone book on your phone, if I'm calling my friend Bob, I don't need to type in Bob's number. I just type in Bob on my contact list, and my contact list on my phone resolves his name to his phone number. Well, that's sort of like how Etsy host works. So do sudo nano Etsy host. And I'm going to drop down to the bottom here, paste in the IP, and we'll call it ledger.thm. Save it, see if I can ping it, and I can. So let's first hit this up with Rust scan. We'll pass all of the open ports over to Nmap, and we can already see this is clearly Active Directory. Seeing Kerberos and LDAP and things like that already popping up in here in SMB and some other just common Windows ports. We have RDP open. I can see that right there. While this runs, let's go ahead and get our notes set up. Let me jump out of Mobius because I'm not going to do that one. We'll make a new page here. We'll call it Ledger THM. And we'll make it full width. And we're going to do an H1, and we'll just call this our enumeration. H2, we'll call this InMap. And we'll go ahead and drop in a code block here. And also, I'm keeping my eye on the chat. Oh, link for the room? Yeah, let me grab the room for you all. I do think it's subscriber only. So if you're not a subscriber, to try hack me, you have to live vicariously through me. But I just dropped the link over in chat. All right, and it's running the InMap scan. Let me explain this syntax right here. You could just use InMap to do this as well, but Rust scan is easier to remember the syntax, and then it passes it over to InMap. So in my opinion, you really do get the best of both worlds. But what it's doing is first running Rust scan on this target ledger.thm, and it's going to discover every open port, which is what it's doing right here, very quickly discovering every port that's open on the machine. And then we're saying, hey, for every open port that you discover, I want you to pass it over to InMap. And over on InMap, I want you to hit it with the -A flag. And if you know your InMap flags, you know that -A means, hey, run all the enumeration scripts at it and see what is running on these ports. And it is running. You guys are arguing over which one's better. I tell you guys, the better text editor. Real hackers use Microsoft Paint. No Nano, no Vim. You just pop it open to MS Paint as an image, and then you edit your file. All right, let's scroll up, and we have a bunch of ports. Most of them aren't going to be helpful to us. They're just generic Windows type things. So let's grab the ones that are going to be most helpful, probably starting... We'll just start right here and let me scroll up and grab the rest of these ports, and then we'll clean it up a little bit in our notes because we're not going to need all of this, but we have it all right here. So let me grab all that, and let's drop over in our notes and just take a look at all these results. And we'll clean up as we go. So we have port 53 open, which is going to be DNS. We could always do dig and look at text records on DNS, but I don't think we'll start there. We have a web server running. That's going to be a good spot for us to dig into. Generally, if you're looking at an environment, especially a CTF environment, web servers are low-hanging fruit. It might give us our initial access. So that's going to be worth at least looking into to see what we can find. We have Kerberos running on port 88. We can't do much with that until we get credentials. We have what's like the SMB. Do we have 445 open as well? Yep, 445. I like to group these together because they typically go together with 135 and 139. So let me just drop that in there. We have LDAP for authentication here. We can do some LDAP enumeration, see if it allows some different binds and things like that. We'll get to it when that time comes. Looks like our domain is just thm.local as well. So I'm actually going to grab that and add that to my Etsy host file as we begin with our initial enumeration. And we'll look at the rest of this. We'll scroll through here. We have the certificate. Honestly, that's not going to be super helpful for us, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that just to clean it up a little bit. Same with 443. It's our other web server, probably the same web server, but the HTTPS version of it. We have some standard Windows stuff here, nothing super interesting. We see that secure LDAP is enabled. I'm going to go ahead and delete this certificate as well just to make it easier to see our stuff. Same with this one. Clean up our notes just a little bit. All right, 3269 LDAP again. Nothing new that we're learning here. We have 3389. That's going to be RDP. Oh, and we have another name here. Labyrinth.thm.local is the actual name of the machine. And that does not bode well. I don't generally like machines that are labyrinths. Hopefully it's not a puzzle. I don't like puzzle type machines. I like more realistic machines, but we'll find out. We'll add this as labyrinth.thm and just labyrinth. Let's see, labyrinth.thm. port 3389, and just some .NET stuff. Not going to be super helpful to us. So looking at this, there's a few easy wins that we could dive into. Before I even look at the web server, let's just check SMB to see if it allows anonymous login. That might be a good starting spot. So I'm going to do an H2, and we'll just call this SMB. I'm going to do a code block and drop in the stuff right there. And really, when it comes to SMB, the first thing to check is, can we see any shares without credentials? So we can do that. First, we're going to cd to try hack me and make a new directory for Ledger. And now we can do SMB client -L to see if we can list files. And we'll drop in the information here. This is going to be ledger.thm, like so. We'll do anon for our password, and we are able to list shares. So that's interesting, but there's not much in these shares that's going to be real helpful for us that I can see. We could try doing see if we can actually connect to a share, but I don't see any shares out of the ordinary. So I don't think any of this is going to be very helpful. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and grab this so we have it in our notes. But like I said, not something that I think is going to be worth digging into right now. From there, let's go to what I think is going to be the way in, and that's going to be port 80, this web server, and let's just see what's running on the web server. We'll get our note set up first. I did not mean to delete that. We'll do an H2, and we'll call it HTTP, and we'll do 80.443. And when we have this many ports open, I like to grab the information and drop it right there in my notes as we enumerate. So we'll drop the 4431 because it gives the most information. We know that's called Labyrinth. It's Microsoft IIS, HTTP 10.0, so we can use some short name scanner type stuff potentially. But first, we're just going to want to look at it and see what is here. Nope, I haven't ran netexec yet. There doesn't seem to be much interesting in SMB. Like, there's no non-default shares. So if we find credentials, we'll come back to that. But for now, I'm just going to leave it and jump over to the web server. But like I said, right now, this is just very much high-level enumeration. I'm looking to see if I can find any low-hanging bugs to get initial access. If I don't find anything, we'll go a lot slower over some of these services and see what we might be missing. But I'm just hitting very quick enumeration, see if there's anything that stands out to me. So with a web server, there's a few things I always like to check. One is we'll run dir search against it to see if there's any hidden directories. We'll also do a vhost scanner, see if there's any vhosts that are running. And we'll just say, we'll check the source code, and we'll look at website functionality, see what's actually on that website. So let's get these scans running, and then we'll check out the website. So we'll do dir search -u, HTTP, Labyrinth. Guys, I don't know how to spell. That's a hard word to spell, bruh. All right, dir search -u, HTTP, labyrinth.thm. There we go. We'll get my vhost scanner running. You can get this from my GitHub if you want. My GitHub is just Tenebrae93. I'll drop it in chat. Look me up on GitHub and get this from my offensive security stuff. Is this a note-taking approach that you used in your OSCP? Yes, it absolutely is. We'll go ahead and go to Tools, vhost fuzzer. All right, and you can see the syntax for my little tool I made. Our domain. Gosh, I don't know how to spell that still. I don't know why Labyrinth is so hard for me to remember how to spell. There it is right there. Let me just grab that. Labyrinth.thm, user, share, wordless, dirbuster, directory, list, 2.3 medium, .text, URL, be Labyrinth, FS filter, we'll just do 1 because we don't know what it is. We see that a size 703 is what we want to filter on, so we're going to change that 1 to 703. But I don't have numlock on my keyboard, so let's turn that on and try that again. All right, and now let's see what's actually running on this web server. We'll open up Kaido to do some web app enumeration. If you don't know what Kaido is, it is sort of like Burp Suite. It's a tool for auditing web apps, kind of a man in the middle so we can proxy different requests. We'll call our project here Ledger and hit create. I'm going to go over to Intercept here. I like to use the built-in browser so I don't forget to turn off Foxy Proxy. And let's go ahead and check this out. I can't spell. The freak do you spell labyrinth? So it is just an IIS Windows server. So unless we find any hidden directories, it's not going to be helpful. I don't see anything that really stands out to me. This is just default stuff right here. I don't think that's going to be helpful. You can see access is denied. But one thing to check, and we're going to have to install this, but we can try what's called a short name scanner. Now, it generally only affects older versions of IIS, so I don't think we'll find anything, but it's worth checking. So I'll show you this because I'm going to have to install it. Highly doubt this is the way in. Try the new tool and go. All right, bet. So, short scan is designed to quickly determine which files as short file names exist on an IIS web server. Once a short file name is identified, the tool will try to automatically identify the full file name. In addition to standard discovery methods, and you know what, I don't even have a good way to explain what this is, so let's go ahead and do, oh, there's the research down there on how and why this works. And like I said, I think it generally affects older versions of IIS, but here's kind of the overall summary, if I can zoom in. It is possible to detect short names of files and directories which have an 8.3 file naming scheme. So like I said, an older version of IIS in several versions of Microsoft IIS. For instance, it's possible to detect all short names, blah, blah. I have written a small scanner as proof of concept. So I don't think this is actually going to be helpful for us, but still a fun tool to be aware of. I've actually used this during pen tests on IIS servers and have been able to find some pretty cool findings. So if we look at this, do we have releases or do I just need to go build it? All right. Oh, I can just go install from GitHub? I didn't know that. Let's see if it works. And then we'll just short scan that URL. We'll see how long it takes. Hopefully not too long. All right. Now we'll try it. It's not showing up. Okay. I don't know if Go's not in my path or something. We're just going to do it the old school way. Let me git clone it, cd into short scan, go build, and it should... What? I don't know why it's not packaging. I also don't know Go great, but generally you can just go build. But it's saying there is no Go files. I'm looking at the Go files. All right, we're not going to do short name scanner because like I said, I highly doubt that's the way in. And I'm not going to waste my time troubleshooting a tool that I know is likely not going to work. Now watch, I eventually am going to look at a walkthrough and it's going to be like, yeah, this is the way in. But I don't know why it doesn't go build. I really don't. Maybe I just need to go install. I mean, I'm pretty sure those are Go files. Have you done EJPT? I have not done it. So I don't know enough about it to recommend it or not. I did the OSCP as my first hands-on cert. All right, forget that. That's not going to be helpful to us. vhost, do we have anything? We don't have anything. So this web server has to be here for a reason. I highly doubt the maker of the machine just threw a web server on here for fun to throw us off, but possibly. But okay, whatever. Let's continue past that. So we can come back to DNS as well, but I don't think DNS is going to be helpful either. Okay. Hacktrix. Oh, is Hacktrix back? No way. It's finally re-indexed by Google. Amazing. I swear for the longest time, Hacktrix was not indexed. Hey, you're in Terminator. I just use the basic CLI. Like, I'm not lead enough for all those special ways of doing it. And yeah, guys, the Ko-Fi stream bot just said you should support me on Ko-Fi. You should support me on Ko-Fi. Let me grab that link for everybody else who's not on Twitch. But if you appreciate everything that I do, come buy me a coffee on Ko-Fi so I can give you a shout out on stream. Be amazing. Be amazing for you to do that. We have almost 60 people watching. So anyways, here we go. We can go ahead and try some of this out. But like I said, I don't think it's going to work. Let's do this one. And so we'll do our victim is going to be Labyrinth. And Labyrinth. I spelled it right. Oh my goodness. If nothing else, this machine has taught me how to spell Labyrinth. All right, and yeah, nothing interesting here. Every once in a while, you might be able to find like a V host or another host that we can dig into, but I didn't think we would find anything, and I was right. So, jumping back over to our notes, what other ports do we have to work with? We have 53. I'm going to go ahead and mark that one off, like not going to be interesting. We can even mark these off as we go to keep our notes clear. We have port 80. I don't know what else to look for. I don't think it's short name scanner because it's a newer version of IIS. And unless some crazy 0-day has dropped recently for 10.0, it is technically outdated, I think, but there's no exploits for it. At least any exploits that are going to be helpful to us. You know what, there might also, now that I see Rapid7, there might also be a short name scanner built into Metasploit. I don't know if there is or not, but let's check. Seeing the Rapid7 name made me think about that. Oh! I got a donation. Dude, Anush, thank you so much. Let me pull it up so I can give you a proper shout out. But you are amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity. $5. Thank you. You're amazing. I really appreciate it. Are you allowed to stream this room? It just came out today. I don't know. I'm not going to post the walkthrough video anytime soon, but I'll be real with you. You're not going to get any helpful ahead of other people by watching my stream. I guarantee you I'm not going to solve the room. We're just poking at it, seeing what's there. If TryHackMe has an issue with it, they all know me personally. They can ping me and I'll say sorry for enumerating. Short name. There is a short name scanner built into Metasploit. All right. Set our host. Labyrinth. Is that how you spell it? It is. Oh my goodness. I am learning how to spell. All right, we'll set our host as that. Everything else looks good, and we'll just run it. And we'll see if that can find anything for us. Scan is in progress. All right, jump back over to our notes. I'm going to mark this off, though, because I really don't know what else to look for on that. And maybe, actually, I don't like crossing them off. I know I'm changing my mind as I go. I like to be able to look back up and see it, but we can go ahead and say this, there's not much to look into. 80, outside of doing a short name scanner, I really don't know what else to do here. With Kerberos, there's not much we can do with Kerberos either until we get credentials. If we get credentials, we can do a little more enumeration with Kerberos. And we found one directory of ASP.NET, but nothing helpful on our short name scanner. So we can go ahead and grab that and add that to our notes just for completeness. So let me jump back down to 80, and we'll say we can get that out. We'll just do an H3 short name scanner. And we'll also say just nothing interesting there, nothing interesting there. Outside of exam setting, is Metasploit the way to go for ease of access and speed automation? I don't use Metasploit very often during my actual pen testing stuff, but definitely for CTFs it's helpful. And sometimes you'll see it on a pen test, but I just haven't had that much luck firing off Metasploit stuff. Okay, I don't need to read about that. Don't need to read about that. All right, jump back over to our notes and just continue looking through these things. So like I said, Kerberos, not helpful to us unless we find credentials. We did have anonymous listing of files in the SMB share, but all of it looked default stuff. Not listing files, listing shares rather. We couldn't actually connect to a share from what I can see. LDAP might be something worth digging into. So let's go ahead and grab LDAP and let's continue our enumeration there. We'll drop that in there. Also want to show you guys a cool thing about Notion. You can see right over on the right side here, it creates a table of contents for us. So I can very quickly see what we've done so far, right? So we enumerate SMB, which I need to add ports. Otherwise, it'll drive me crazy. 139.445. Anyway, so we can see everything that we've enumerated. And we'll do LDAP right here. Really helpful when you begin a machine and come back to it a few days later, so you can very quickly get caught up on what you've checked, what you've enumerated, so you don't repeat your steps. Also helpful on something like the OSCP, so you don't fall into a bunch of crazy rabbit holes. But when it comes to LDAP enumeration, there's quite a few different things that we're able to do, and we'll see if Hacktricks can help us out with that, because I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. Oh, now Hacktricks isn't coming up. Well, it's down here. We'll just search within it. You think I'm in a rabbit hole? That's fine. Part of rabbit holes is we learn something in the process. Okay, not LDAP injection, not log. So we don't want to do LDAP injection. We want to check like anonymous bind. Let's see. Here we go. Blah, blah. Was able to contact. I don't think it's that. LDAP anonymous binds. That's what we want to try. LDAP anonymous binds allows unauthenticated users to retrieve information from the domain, which I think Enum for Linux might just help us with this as well. Let me just run Enum for Linux against this real quick. We'll leave Metasploit open. I'll do a new terminal here. I don't remember the syntax for Enum for Linux. I think it's -u and then you pass it in. Oh no, it's user list. Oh, you just give it the IP. Okay. We'll just pass in the IP and see if it's able. I think it automatically checks for anonymous bind, but I could be wrong. While it does that, we can continue to read. So we don't have valid credentials. That's not going to be helpful. We could try WinDAP search. But I think, yeah, you need credentials most of the time. Check null credentials or if your credentials are valid. This might be helpful. Okay. So, not much helpful here. I don't know what this is saying. I think because it doesn't have users, it's failing out. Now let's try and do RID cycling to find users. Oh, we're actually able to dump users. That's what's up. At least some local users. We have administrator, we have guest, we have default account. We have all default stuff so far. But maybe we can find some interesting users here. What up, Psyched? Good to have you here. Come on, keep doing your thing. And let's look into this a little bit. This box is called Ledger over on TryHackMe. We have a group there called None. That's a very helpful group. And I've done an anonymous bind as a means of getting into a machine over on VulnLab. I could go find my notes on that potentially. All right, well, that pulls up. Let me show you why taking good notes is important. If I go over to on-prem, I'm trying to think which VulnLab machine it was that had anonymous bind. Here, I have notes I can't actually share with you all, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen just for a moment. All right, here are my notes. And I actually have a walkthrough for this machine on my YouTube channel, but it's the baby machine over on VulnLab that uses anonymous bind for initial access, it looks like right here. Good night. Hey, peace out, Fixit42. Good to have you hanging out here. So we can go ahead and try this. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's of course worth trying. Looks like this is still trying to do its enumeration. So let's do this. Of course, we're going to update our IP here to our machine's IP. And I think if we look at the format, we can do labyrinth.thm maybe. Labyrinth. I think that means it failed. So I don't think that's going to be helpful to us, because you can see when it succeeded here, I was able to get some information on users, and I found this Teresa Bell user with an initial password being set. So I don't think anonymous bind is allowed. We can jump back over to Enum for Linux, and it's still trying to enumerate users using that SID. Doing RID recycling. What's your Twitch handle? Hey, good question. Yeah, so do want to let at least those of you watching this live right now, I stream on 3 different platforms, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. On YouTube and LinkedIn, I just stream under my name, Tyler Ramsbey. And over on Twitch, I stream under the name hack_smarter. So I'll drop my Twitch URL in chat. All right, well, this is still trying to do this. Let's go back. I already see why this room is probably rated as hard. Because I'm not sure even what else to check at this point. We have LDAP. We have the web server, but I couldn't see anything on the web server that would be helpful to us. We're checking LDAP now, but without credentials, there's really not much we can do with LDAP. There's anonymous binds. Okay, so Hacktrick still is not on here, but DuckDuckGo actually indexes Hacktricks. Whereas Google doesn't, I've noticed. See? We get the top thing. So is there anything I'm missing here? We're not going to be able to sniff credentials in a lab environment the way this is set up. Would this really work? Oh, hey, we're getting some more stuff here. Nothing that stands out to me though. All default things in Windows. Okay. Valid creds, which you don't have. Enumeration. LDAP search, which I think we need creds for the most part. I think what Enum for Linux over here is doing is going to be our way in with RID recycling, which I think is using RID stuff to like brute force through things. Let's see if we can understand this a little bit better. So we're setting up null sessions, which I understand that. I don't like the way this is written. Pen test. Not bike cycling. Yeah, RID Enum is what this is doing with their RID values, which is what Enum for Linux is doing for us. Whatever. What is this? Has nothing to do with what I'm looking at. Oh, RID cycling. Through a process of RID cycling, it's possible to enumerate all domain users from Windows 2003 domain controller. This method will work on Windows 2003, blah, blah, blah. Iterate through the RIDs to enumerate users. The following is an example of automated username enumeration using get account from Windows 2003. Ours isn't 2003, but, you know, we can at least get users that way. So what I'm looking for is, can we get any users that are actually out of the ordinary? Something that we want. We have a machine. One right here, but really striking out on this enumeration as well. Let's go back to my notes. What am I missing on here? We can try looking at SMB some more, but we can use netexec with anonymous session. So I think it's netexec, SMB, labyrinth.thm-u-p shares. So we connect, but we can't actually enumerate the shares. I could do it manually, though, I think. If I could spell. So I can list the shares that way, but I can't actually connect to any of them. Just double check that. Yeah, and none of this is going to be helpful to me. Okay, well, we have some users and some groups, but nothing actually helpful to us. We'll still grab this for our notes. I was hoping we'd have at least like some unique users so we could do like some password spraying type stuff, but we really don't. We have this. Now, there's an interesting setting that if it's like Windows accounts, if they're set to 2003 or earlier on a machine, the password is the same as the name. I highly doubt this is going to be the case here. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about if I can find a good blog about it. But I have that in the back of my head right now as well as something worth trying. Just go like that, and then the password would just be yeah, I figured that wouldn't work. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Machine name, same as password. I think it's a trusted sec blog. Yes. Pre-creating computer accounts was a thing. Which there's a machine on Vuln Lab that showcases this, and this is why it's in my mind. But basically, if you set this up as a pre-Windows 2000 computer, by default, the password is the same as the computer name. So something you might be able to find and dig into, but not working in this case. There is a Vuln Lab machine. I went through it offline during my 40-day break, but I want to make a video walkthrough on it, and we can get hands-on with that at that time when I actually make that. InMap has SMB scripts too. Yeah, it's good. Good to know. What do you think about Pwn College? I've just never used Pwn College. So as far as what I think about it, I don't have any thoughts about it because I don't use it. Now, is there another way to do RID recycling? Okay, hold up. RID recycling. What is this? So this is what I was at before. Maybe I can get better results with this. How old is this? Oh, it's 6 years old? All right, let's just see if we can get it to work. Worth trying. Maybe it will do better than Enum for Linux for some reason. I highly doubt it, though. Let's drop into a virtual environment. Source, my environment, bin activate, so that we keep everything separate, especially if I had to install some weird package to get this to work. And sure enough, it actually works. Amazing. But I need to pass it some usernames. You must specify an already dumped username file. Okay, never mind. So it's actually not going to be helpful for us. Hey, this guy's part of the Hack Smarter community. Null session may allow users to authenticate to servers without providing credentials, which, you know what, we actually might, although we can't list shares, I have a question, because it, notice when oh wait, wrong thing. When we do it without credentials, you can see that we do get successful authentication. Right there. What if we try to list users from here? Okay, that didn't work. Doesn't matter if I change it to thm.local. You do it net exec, can I? All right, let's let's look into NetExec's wiki real quick and see what we're all able to do here. All right, let's try LDAP. We'll try to do it with LDAP anonymously and see if we can list users that way. Oh, RID brute, that's what it is. Got it. Thank you. We'll try that too. Oh, boom. Look at that. So with LDAP, we are able to dump all the users. Beautiful. So that will be helpful, very helpful for us. We got 950 users. Let's go ahead and grab all this information. At least we're getting somewhere. I have some information. Let me grab all of this. Whoops. Scroll up. And we'll grab all of this right here. I'm going to copy that, drop it over into our notes. And we'll say dumping users with NXE and LDAP. We'll drop the full list in there, but I also want to go... Actually, you know what? That's not going to make sense to drop the full list in there. Let's go like this. Let's make a new page. And we'll do a full list on this page to keep our main notes clear. That makes sense. We'll go ahead and do full width here. Now we jump back over to this. It keeps it so we don't have a really long string down here. It's just at a full list right there. But we can go ahead and do this as well. Nano full users LDAP.text is what I'll call it. I'll paste this in here. And if we cat it out, we have all the information here. And then we can pull out the users from here. So for example, it looks like their usernames are right here. It's their first name, underscore, and their last name, and then we have their OU information. But what's going to be helpful for us is just getting their usernames for password spraying and things like that. And I mean, there's a few different ways we can get it, but if we cat, we actually want to cut. We'll use a delimiter of equals, and we'll grab the first field. Let me just see what that does. All right, actually, I want to grab the second field, which then gives us that. So we'll save that to users2.text. And if we cat users2.text, actually not cat, cut users2.text, then we can use a delimiter of comma. Then we can get the first field, and that should give us just the usernames. And we'll type users.text. And now we have a full list of just their usernames without all the extra information. So that's going to be helpful for us with any type of password spraying. Very ghetto way of doing it, but you know what? It doesn't matter because it works. Now with this, are we able to dump descriptions as well with LDAP stuff or no? Because every once in a while, if you can dump things like this and you can dump descriptions, then we can get maybe a password that's saved in the description. But looking at this and looking at the time, we're bumping our head at about an hour. And I also know this is a new Try Hack Me challenge machine. And I don't know if I'm technically supposed to be streaming it right now. So I don't want to give too much away, but I did want to do the initial enumeration. So I think for tonight's stream and for this part of the video, this is a good stopping point showing how to do initial enumeration of all the services here in Active Directory. We were eventually able to authenticate to LDAP with a null session, and then from that we were able to dump the users. From here, we're going to be able to do a lot more enumeration in order to establish initial access, but showed you a lot in this first part of the video, even though we didn't get full access, showed you some solid enumeration, note-taking, connecting to LDAP, and dumping the users that way. So hopefully you learned something in this, and I'll see you in part 2 as we continue working through this machine together. All right. Wanted to just get that part done. Guys, I wasn't planning on streaming too long tonight, but I'll hang around and answer some questions if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to jump off for the night. I'm going to go play Elder Scrolls, I think. Either Oblivion Remastered or Elder Scrolls Online. But yeah, I wasn't playing the stream too long. We're at like an hour. It's a good, solid hour-long stream for people who want to hang out. Let me check out chat. Tyler, I've got a question. Can you break down what password spraying entails in simple terms? It's been something I hear a lot, but it's a topic I have yet to digest. Absolutely. Let me open up... I'm not sharing my screen. So here's how it would work for password spraying on something like, let's say I'm doing an internal pen test. When you do an internal pen test, you generally begin with low-level Active Directory credentials. So it's an assumed breach scenario. With low-level AD creds, you have access, you dump all the users, you can run Bloodhound data, but this is the way it works. Step number one, well, I already have a one there, but I'm still going to make my own step number one, right? Get a list of all users. Step number two, what you can do with NetExec and other tools is you can do password spraying. Now, you do want to make sure, get the password policy so you don't lock out accounts. So make sure you know the password policy so you don't lock out every account in Active Directory. That's going to give you a bad day. But once you have the password policy, it can be really simple with NetExec that you specify, I think it's a -U, and then you can pass it all the users, and then do -p, and then just try common passwords. So for example, you would be surprised if you just use the season and the year. So right now it's spring 2025. If you sprayed spring 2025 against many domains right now, you will compromise at least 1, 2, or 3 accounts, or spring 2025 with an exclamation mark at the end. That's why they often say that requiring users to update their password isn't always good, because they'll just update their password to something easy. Additionally, you can use a tool like Cool on the target domain to generate a custom password list. So maybe the organization's name is TryHackMe and their passwords are TryHackMe123 exclamation mark. That's something you can do, but more realistically, what you can do is look through breach credentials. So I have a whole video about this, and I'm blanking on the name of the website right now. It's not Have I Been Pwned, dhash, here it is. So this is what I actually do on pen tests, and I have a whole video with a custom Python script that does this for you. But basically what you can do with dhashed is you can put in a target domain. So like if I'm targeting tryhackme.com, I can put in a target domain and it will pull down every user with the tryhackme.com email that has been in previous data breaches, and I can grab all of their clear text passwords, and then I can do targeted password spraying with those passwords across a domain. So send one password against every user account and see if I'm able to compromise anyone, or look for a common theme in the passwords that are set. So that's how password spraying works. So password spraying, you take one password and spray against all accounts. Generally is how password spraying works. Let me know if that's helpful. Scroll up. In a getaway, if it works in my book, exactly. Can you explain again why LDAP worked versus other enumeration techniques? You know, I don't really have a good answer for that. Besides, we were able to authenticate to LDAP with what's called a null session. So good security would be, hey, you can't authenticate unless you have valid credentials. But if LDAP is set up in such a way that allows a null session, which just means anonymous login, right? So instead of our username being Tyler.Ramsbey and our password being password123, we were able to do no username with no password, and this means that's weird. If I do that many, it does a big equal sign. That means it's a null session. Now with the null session, if it allows that, we're able to query some information from LDAP, or is it local directory access protocol? What? Now I can't think of what LDAP stands for. Lightweight, that's what it is, not local. Lightweight Directory Access Protocol for managing and accessing directory services, which means if we're able to get a null session with LDAP, then we can use that users flag with NetExec, which I showed you, to dump all of the users. Whereas SMB, we weren't able to do that, but LDAP allowed us to dump those users. Now, as far as why it's vulnerable to that, I do not know how they have things configured in the environment. Also, just looking at this, we have different tiers, which are going to be interesting. We even have an AWS tier for a service account for Glenn Gray. This is a pretty cool machine so far. I'm excited to dive into it. I just don't want to make Try Hack Me mad. Like I got, oh, we have some secrets here. Interesting. I don't want to make Try Hack Me mad. I got further faster than I thought, and I think this is enough to give away to people without giving away too much. So that's why I'm stopping here. Look over. Fix this. I streamed for 14 hours. That's amazing. Kudos. Lightweight. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Thank you. I did the LDAP and Newman Hack the Box Academy for Cape. It was cool to see you kind of use a tech to find stuff with that and other techs not work. Exactly. Yeah, I haven't done the LDAP stuff in Hack the Box Academy, but all their stuff is really good. So I'm sure it was solid material. But okay, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to find somebody to raid. If you don't know raid terminology on Twitch, it means we take all of our viewers and we send them all over to someone else. I'm looking at my channel right now. We have most people on YouTube. So for those of you on YouTube, you should come join on Twitch to be part of the raid. Even if you don't have a Twitch account, you can still be part of the raid. Let me drop my Twitch link one more time in chat. But let me see who is streaming right now. See if anyone cool is streaming. Oh, we have the Shy Hat is streaming. The Shy Hat is a really cool content creator, does a lot of teaching. I love the way he just calmly explains things. He's always fun to watch. Let's go ahead and raid him. Our raid phrase, when you join the raid, you're supposed to have a raid phrase. Ours is going to be hack smarter, not harder. So when we jump into that raid, everyone say in chat, hack smarter, not harder. But let's go ahead and raid my friend the Shy Hat. Come join that raid, and then I'm going to sign off, guys. But thank you so much for hanging out. Nefos, you did miss, but that's okay. It was a shorter stream. I got too far in a new Try Hack Me machine, and I don't think I'm technically supposed to be streaming it, so I wanted to stop where I was at. But we'll pick that up probably early next week. We'll jump back on and continue working through that. But let's go raid the Shy Hat. Raid phrase is hack smarter, not harder. I'll see you guys over in the raid.